Welcome to the Talk Sox podcast. I'm Alex, and as always, I'm joined by Maddie. What's going on?
Happy Monday. Just well,
It's a hot
uh,
Monday here in Missouri. We were told by the state to not run our air conditioning.
what?
hmm
Not run it.
Oh, that's not happening. But we were out of the house for about 6 hours today, so our house got up to about 78 degrees. Like we've got a nest, and so it 76. It's set to come on at 76, but it has taken. We got home at like 4:30 ish. As of the start of this recording, it's 8:25, and it's taken that amount of time to get down to 70 degrees in the house. So it's hot.
Hmm.
It's gonna be hot tomorrow too.
Is there like a data center being built near you? Like, are they
No,
trying to conserve power?
not yet.
Okay.
There's one planned relatively close.
Ugh. Yeah,
But Missouri's jumped in with both feet on data centers. So it's fun times here in the Show Me State.
yeah, yeah. Shapiro has jumped in. Yeah, head first. So
Yeah, that's saddening. I had high hopes for old Shapiro.
I did too. I don't. I'd rather have him than the dude that was Mastriano running against him. But
Yeah. And we've got old farmer Mike Kehoe. That's who's running our state.
in Hawley.
Yeah.
But that's it for politics.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very hot here in Missouri. It's going to be hot through tomorrow. Not as hot as the Red Sox trade stove. Oh, that was a great transition.
Yeah, that was good.
But we're not even there yet. We're not even there on the rundown. We've got another thing to get into before then. Yeah, you're preparing for life changes. So I think our next, just kind of a programming note for next week, we will not be recording on Sunday. We will be doing a live stream on Monday night as kind of like a post trade deadline wrap up, post mortem. If it ends like it currently is with just Curtis Mead, how do you feel about the trade deadline?
Not good. How do you feel, Alex?
We differ drastically on this trade, which is good for this episode. I don't feel great about the trade deadline if Curtis Mead is the only addition that's made, but I feel better about this deadline than the previous two that Breslow has done in his tenure with the Boston Red Sox. Now, I mean, when the bar is in hell, it's easy to clear. But yeah, I feel better. I already feel better about this trade deadline than the previous ones. So that's great.
So you wrote a nice analysis of Mead and what he brings to the table with the Red Sox. Do you want to break that down?
Yeah, let me jump into it because I've got some numbers in there. Also, shout out Nick John, we were both, I think, the only ones that work here awake.
Yeah,
when the trade went down.
Sleeping.
And I didn't have I was in bed, and I didn't have my laptop on me, and so Nick kind of took the first round of pieces on it, and then I came through on, was that Friday night? Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. And then I came through Sunday morning and knocked out kind of a deeper dive into it. So Curtis Mead, for those of you who don't know, he's under contract through the 2030 season. He's only 25. He's bounced around. I hesitate to call him a journeyman because he's 25. He's been technically with 4 different organizations. He was signed by your Phillies as an international free agent in 2018, and then was traded to the Rays for Christopher Sanchez in 2019. He was then included as part of a package deal to the White Sox for Adrian Hauser in 25, and then was DFA'd and traded to the Nationals in March of this year for a guy named Boston Smith. So he's had a not linear path to the majors. He was a top 30, top 40 Baseball America prospect. I actually think Baseball Prospectus had it ranked as high as 17 at one point. He is Australian. Currently, he's slashing 254, 352, and 500 with a 369 WOBA, a 134 weighted runs created plus, and a 1.5 FWAR. That was very country FWAR. He slugged 17 home runs, has 48 RBIs, 6 stolen bases. His walk rate is one of the best in the league. Is in the 82nd percentile, 11.9. His strikeout rate is 19%, which is great. The biggest knock on his offensive approach is that his exit velocity is not awesome. His average is only 88 miles an hour. But he barrels balls at an almost 11% clip, which is 69th percentile. The reason I think Craig Breslow targeted him is his enormous pull air percentage, much like Wilson Contreras, of 22.5. Wilson, when he was traded to the Red Sox, came in at 20. He's up at almost 30, or maybe up to 31 at this point. So expect Curtis Mead to do the same. One thing that I always love to do when the Red Sox make new additions is drop their home run or their home spray chart over Fenway Park just to kind of see what that looks like. If he was hitting at Fenway Park for the entirety of this season, we add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 home runs. And not all of those are to left field. There's actually 2 peskies in there. He's going to play second base. At least that's the going saying at the moment. Thank God he's not playing third because he's -9 outs above average and has a 77.1 mile per hour arm strength. That -9 is good for first percentile. Along with a name that I have circled as a potential target for the Red Sox that we'll talk about, I'm sure, who is also in the first defensive or the first outs above average percentile. This does force Anthony Siegler, Tony Seagulls to the bench more than likely. I think as long as he's on the major league roster, he's going to be fine though. Let's see if there's anything else. So that's a brief overview of Curtis Mead. He's got, I think he fits pretty well on this team. He's batting second tonight. We're recording this. First pitch of the A's game was just a few minutes ago, game 1 of the A's series. The A's are terrible this year. At one point, they looked like they were maybe going to make some noise in the AL West, but that's not going to happen. So I think if there's any situation that Mead could walk into, that's going to work really well for him. It's going out to Sacramento where the ball flies. I'd expect a home run, maybe 2 from him this series. Dodger series, obviously that's going to be tough. I don't want anybody to make snap judgments about the Dodger series unless the Sox sweep. If the Sox sweep, that's one of the best teams in the league. Like, obviously, if the Sox win the series, obviously that's huge. That proves that they can hang with the big boys in the National League too. But if the Dodgers catch fire like they are prone to doing in this week before we play them over the weekend, even if the Red Sox drop the series or, God forbid, get swept in that Dodger series, I'm not going to overreact to that. Dodgers are a great team.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And I have your weekend review pulled up. We don't know who's pitching for the Dodgers yet, do we?
I haven't checked today, but probably not.
Yeah, it's a little too early. And
Yamamoto threw last night. I know that.
Okay, so they might see him.
Potentially for the Sunday night game.
Ooh.
Yeah, TBD for Friday. TBD Saturday, TBD Sunday. Sunday is Sunday Night Baseball, by the way. So
I wonder who they'll get for the Dodgers. Middlebrooks is usually the guy for the Red Sox, or has been.
And then what Loomer did the first one, didn't he? And I thought he did great. And I love Loomer. I love Middlebrooks. I think a 3-man booth of Loomer, Middlebrooks, and Will Fleming would be just tops, it'd be incredible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That'd be. Oh. Well, I'm a huge Lenny DiNardo fan. I mean, I like listening
Lenny's
to
been
him.
great. I
Yeah.
like Cooper Boardman too. I think
Mhm.
Cooper's been doing a really good job on the radio. A Cooper Lenny team on the radio, that's solid.
Yeah, we're blessed with just a good analyst covering our games with the Red
Yeah,
Sox.
yeah.
Um,
It's the perfect mix of former players and guys who just love baseball.
yeah, and the guys who the former players aren't like annoying about having like played, if that makes sense.
Unless
Like
Kevin Millard's in the booth.
oh, I need like a Xanax when I hear when I listen to Kevin Millar speak. Oh my, it's just it's too much. He's like the antithesis of NPR.
Yeah.
But back to Curtis Mead. I'm a little skeptical of him. Just
That's
he's
fair. I
only
think that's
yeah.
incredibly fair.
He's only had 327 plate appearances this year. He might have one more since the game just started. But anyway. And he's only put 222 balls in play this year.
Yeah.
So it's a small sample size, and just for line drive rate, that requires 600 balls in play to stabilize. So that's nearly a full season. So I just
Yeah.
don't think we're seeing the full picture of his supposed breakout yet. And the defense isn't good. He's going to be playing in a position where he's never played before, right?
He has logged innings at second base. I think this season. I think he's been there for 6 games. I think in his career he has 100-ish innings at second.
Okay.
I don't believe that he's the second baseman. I don't buy that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's not a huge sample size. And at second base, and I just pulled this up. He has a total of 0 outs above average and 0 for fielding run value. So
That's
I mean,
better than his third base outs above average.
it's better than his third base. When they go low, we go lower. And
yeah.
I'm worried it's going to be like a Jorge Polanco situation with the Mets, where you sign a guy who's riding high off of a pretty good season, and then he's forced to play a position. Well, Polanco, that's an apples to apples comparison, because Polanco never played first base, and Mead has logged some innings there. But I mean, I'm just afraid it'll be kind of similar to that, but not exactly.
I think it's a valid concern. I really do. And from what we were talking about in our podcast Slack channel, like you're high on Early, which makes sense for why this trade doesn't sit super well with you as well.
Mm-hmm. Like I thought Early would have been part of a bigger trade package for a sexier player. And I might sound a little whiny here, but this is the Boston Red Sox. When the Milwaukee Brewers have more star power than you, like you need to look in the mirror and just think, what's like.
How do we get Jacob Mizorowski on the Red Sox? That's what you need to think.
Yes.
Although apparently they drafted a kid who was getting comps to him, so we'll see how that works.
Just
how many Pokemon gloves he has.
Oh man, that glove is so cool.
That's a targeted ad on my Facebook reels right now. Is him like explaining how that glove came to be with 44.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch it every time. Like it's well targeted, but.
And that's a pretty nice card to put in the glove.
Yeah.
A base set Japanese Ganger.
Yeah. Wish I had one.
Me too. Well, when would you use it? Like just like I wouldn't want to get the card messed up.
I know Didn't he use it in the All-Star game?
I think he did.
Yeah. So I would probably do that because technically he made the All-Star team last year, but it was convoluted and he had just really like broken onto the scene like a month ago. And so, but this year he definitely deserved the All-Star nomination. So I think that I would probably use that glove for my one inning, and then I would probably frame it with my All-Star jersey.
Ooh, It's a good plan.
Not that I'm ever going to have that chance, but
you can always dream about it.
Hey, I do frequently. So we have got some really, and we'll get back into the Curtis Mead conversation through a lot of these questions. We've got 3 questions here on the Talk Sox Forum. These were posted by MVP, who is always just phenomenal questions. I'm actually going to skip the first one. We'll do that one last because it's actually an easier answer than I think anticipated. And so we'll start with the non-Curtis Mead or trade question because I think it's really topical because we have changed our opinion from the first time we did a mailbag episode and to now on this question. So it's question number 3 if you're looking on the forums. It says, on the very first mailbag, I asked if Mayer should be sent to AAA to fix his offensive issues. You stated that he was better off learning against MLB pitching. On last week's podcast, you advocated for him to spend the rest of the season in AAA because he was rushed. What did you see over the course of the next few weeks that changed your mind? For me, it's the baseball that's being played right now. When we first did the mailbag episode, it was either right after or right before the Colorado series. And you were getting manhandled by teams that had no business beating you. And so my thought process was that they were going to probably sell off most major pieces, Sonny Gray, Aroldis Chapman, maybe even Contreras at the time, to essentially get these kids some runway. And at that time, my thought process was just let him learn against Major League pitching, let him figure it out up here. When the tide turned, and this was post-injury, Marcelo hasn't been part of this team during this run. When the tide turned, there's no space to let him figure it out at the big league level. You've got to win games, and you've got to win more of them than you lose. And so now I think that even when the injury happened, we were probably less than a week out from Mayer being optioned to AAA. He looked completely lost at the plate. His defense was all over the place at short, and that's supposed to be his natural position. So I think that we were probably looking at him being optioned back to Worcester probably within the next week, and then he got injured. Now he's taking swings off a tee right now, so he's probably going to start a rehab assignment pretty quickly, unless the wheels just completely fall off here over the next week or two. I don't think that Marcelo Mayer plays another inning this season for the Boston Red Sox. I think that he'll play for the Woo Sox through the end of the AAA season.
It's also barring any potential trade, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I don't think it's a guarantee he's on this roster past Friday.
So so our first mailbag episode was on it dropped on June 16th, and on that date, the Red Sox had a 12.3% chance of making the playoffs per Fangraphs. Today, they have a 70.8% chance. So that's changed.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's the biggest thing is we're playing baseball that matters suddenly. Whereas on June 16th, we were not.
This turnaround was a huge surprise to, I think, speaking for both of us.
Yeah.
And it's really just shifted our outlook on the team.
Yeah, and it took me a little while to buy in too. So I think had you even asked this question halfway through the 15-game win streak, I'd have maybe been, like maybe he can come back up, maybe. The division's not out of the question at this point, and I think with another move or two, the Red Sox will probably kind of force their way into a World Series contender conversations.
Yeah, possibly.
I think that if they get to the World Series, I don't think they can win a best of 7 series against any of the National League teams that would be in that position. They could beat the Braves maybe. We'll see how they line up against the Dodgers this weekend. with an additional bat plus Mead, and then I would target a starter probably, like a short term veteran guy. I think you're in that conversation as best team in the American League.
We will talk about targets later. So, do we want to go to the Mead question?
Yeah. Are you talking about number 2?
Number 2, yeah.
Yeah. So this is my favorite question out of all of them.
It's a fun one.
Mead doesn't like Sweet Caroline, which good for him. As a person who has played in many a cover band, I've played this song more often than it has played at Fenway Park. And it's a crowd pleaser. It really is. And I can tell you with 100% confidence that next summer when my wife and I go to Boston for the first time, I will sing Sweet Caroline at Fenway Park at the top of my lungs. But it's not a song that I super care for. It says, will his production decrease in close and late game situations at Fenway, or will his anger get him locked in? Also, please power rank the Wave, Beach Balls, and Sweet Caroline. He's Australian, so he's crazy.
Yeah.
So it'll probably make him lock in.
In the 8th inning or later this year, he has posted an 820 OPS and 130 WRC plus.
We're shooting for 1,000. What is your power ranking on the Waves, Beach Balls, and Sweet Caroline?
I like the Wave, especially after like 2 tall boys. I will get really into it if I'm at a game. I like Sweet Caroline. Yeah, I like Neil Diamond. I think it's a classic. I hate when the European soccer teams try to appropriate it, and I'm like, no, it's the Red Sox. No, none of you, just stop it. Yeah. And beach balls are kind of distracting during games. I mean, I know the Wave is too, but you gotta get it up.
Much like you, after a couple cool frosty beverages, I will partake in the Wave. I actually think that out of these 3, I would have Sweet Caroline as my number 1. Just because it is such an iconic thing for the Red Sox, and then I would do the Wave. I think beach balls are stupid. I don't think that they belong at any kind of sporting event. Although I did see a video of a UEFA match from I think last year where the ball got on the field and the crowd started singing "Give Us Our Ball Back," and then the wind caught it and blew it into goal, and they all started cheering. So that was that's where I like that beach ball. It's not a game, but I'll never forget when I was in high school. I went to a concert at the stadium, quote unquote, at the college, 30 minutes from where I grew up, and there was a bunch of people that had beach balls out in the pit on the floor. We were sitting in the seats, and security was walking around with box cutters, stabbing into the air, trying to pop the beach balls. So that was safe. I was glad I was in the seat. That's the best beach ball experience I've had. Yeah, that's the best beach ball experience I've had. So the first question that MVP asked that we saved for the end here was, what was the last Sox deadline deal that exceeded the price tag of Connelly Early? And I had to do some digging to get to see if there was anything that I thought would. And the easy answer is I can't really come up with a trade that is on a controllable young starter with the ceiling as high. This is my caveat, and this is why we think that the trade is different. I don't think that Early is anything more than a 3 on a good team. The Nats are not a good team, and so he's going to be their number 2 after Wilson Contreras' racist friend, Cave Cavalli. I wish he'd have hit him with the helmet. I really wish he'd have hit him with the helmet. But
Yeah.
I like Connelly Early, but I think that there is a lot of kind of romanticism over his 5 starts when he was called up last year, the way that he pitched game 3 of the wild card series, and through his first few starts this year. I think, and I've been on this podcast for a couple months at this point saying that Jake Bennett's explosion into the rotation made Connelly Early irrelevant because they're essentially the same pitcher, and I think that Bennett has a much higher ceiling than Early. And if I was going to trade one of them, it would be Connelly Early. And here we are. But I couldn't really find a trade that I felt was on this level. And that sounds weird to say because Curtis Mead isn't a huge get. He's not a huge name. He's not a household name. And I think that that's why some people don't like this trade very much, is because this isn't a name we've ever heard attached to the Red Sox. But apparently, according to Jeff Passan and Cotillo, there were multiple teams inquiring about Curtis Mead. In case you forgot, the Nats are headed up by Paul Taboni, who essentially drafted Connelly Early. He's a big Connelly Early fan. I kind of dipped my toe into the Threads world with this. It was the first time I posted anything over there. It did pretty decent numbers for somebody who doesn't ever do anything on there. I had somebody come in and they were like, I'm sure that Washington couldn't say yes fast enough. And while that's probably true because Paul Taboni knows this system better than probably any other executive that's not named Chaim Bloom, the Red Sox dealt from a position of strength. If there's one thing that I will give Craig Breslow his flowers for over and over again, it's his ability to identify, draft, and develop pitching and acquire pitchers that work in his system, his and Andrew Bailey's system. So to me, if Craig Breslow was comfortable trading Connelly Early, that means that there's already a plan in place to replace him. Like I said, I think that Early has the ceiling of a 3 in Boston. I'm not saying that Curtis Mead is the next coming of Manny Ramirez or anything like that, but a controllable right-handed bat who's only 25, who has the ability to, who looks like on paper he should hit very, very well at Fenway. I think this could be a very rare win-win trade for both sides. We dealt from a position of kind of we have so many talented arms. And the Nats lead the league in runs scored and run differential. Curtis Mead was 3rd on their team in RBI. It's he's part of the reason why. They dealt from a position of strength. We dealt from a position of strength. I think that's why it's a rare 1-for-1. But I think both teams can come out looking really, really good after this trade. I really do.
Yeah, I think Mead's batted ball profile, if it's legit, would play well at Fenway.
Mm-hmm.
The one caveat from this trade is that Breslow made a move with a dude who worked under him, and that's mostly what he's done.
That is his MO, yes.
And that's just my fear going into this deadline, where he might make a trade with Chaim for Jojo Romero, as you've been saying since we started this podcast.
Yeah. Jojo has not been good this year. That there are names in the Cardinals organization that I would target. I don't know if JoJo's one of them anymore. He's another lefty. We really don't need another lefty.
Do I still think we're going to end up with one? Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although Luke Weaver's been attached to the Red Sox a ton.
I would like Luke Weaver.
I would too. Yeah.
He was one of those Yankees where I was just like, if only you were on another team because I think I could root for you. um, yeah, he's a lights out reliever, just really good in high leverage situations. I think you still need a bullpen arm.
Yeah.
And he would be an attractive target.
I would be shocked if the Red Sox aren't talking to the Mets. We don't know anything. We've heard nothing on that front. Not that we hear much anyway. In fact, most of what I hear is from like St. Louis people. And so it very rarely has anything to do actually with the Red Sox. But obviously there's the Francisco Lindor connection, but I don't think he's getting traded till the offseason.
Yeah, that seems like an off-season move.
I mean, there's a case to be made if the Mets are willing to take on money that, yeah, it's a deal that you should explore, especially if you could get them to attach Francisco Alvarez into that trade package, because I do like him. I think that he's a middle of the road defensive catcher, but he's a really, really good hitter. But was it last week that Stearns came out and was like, we're not doing what we did with DeGrom and Scherzer. We're not eating contracts to trade them. Which I get. Like, they ate like $60 million between those two guys.
A lot of money.
Lindor, I don't have Lindor's numbers in front of me, but they're high. And he signed through like 31, I think. 30 or 31.
He's owed like roughly 162 million, and I just rounded up, so I mean it could be a little more than that.
I mean, if you could get the Mets to cover 30-40% of that, then sure. But I mean, look at how we talk about Trevor Story. Look at what Lindor did to cost the Mets that game right before the All-Star break. Like, he lost that game for them. He's had more defensive miscues since then. I like Francisco Lindor, but I worry about his attitude in the clubhouse. I know there's some people who don't, but I think that like we've already seen kind of what some clubhouse issues can lead to this season. I don't necessarily want to deal with that.
And there was that Spielberg movie trailer where Lindor was in it, and I was thinking, when did you film this? Like, is your head really in the game?
Yeah. And it's not a good trailer.
It's like, I'm not compelled to see that movie.
No, not one bit. I remember watching. I'm like, why is Francisco Lindor getting abducted by aliens? Oh well. I don't know. I think, like I said, I think that Lindor that's a off-season conversation. I think with his age and the amount of money he's owed, I don't think that he makes a lot of sense for the Red Sox. But one thing that, and we've talked a lot about Curtis Mead. I don't have the game pulled up. My phone's almost dead. And so I don't know how his first at bat is going or has gone. But one thing that we talked about in the podcast chat and in just the writers chat in general were the comments that Craig Breslow made kind of after the trade and then on the air yesterday. And I've got them pulled up here on Mass Live. Shout out to Chris Cotillo. I'm going to kind of read through them all, and then we can kind of tear them apart if that works for you, Maddie.
Great.
Okay, so Breslow said we felt like pitching was a strength of the team and we wanted to boost our offense. Breslow described it as a fair characterization that the Red Sox, even if they hadn't vaulted themselves back into playoff contention with their recent hot streak, would have been interested in the deal that they made because of how it helps balance their roster. Because Mead will be part of the infield mix, not just for the rest of 26, but for years to come. It could have happened at any time. Still, the Red Sox feel as though there's something to signaling to the players that their recent play hasn't gone unnoticed. Breslow said, I think the players deserve it. I think the fans deserve it. And it's been a turbulent path to get here. But as we sit here today, a week out from the deadline, the resilience and toughness of this team has become very apparent. The opportunity to upgrade was something we were looking for. Let's jump a little bit. You have to be willing to move from areas of depth, no matter how much it may hurt if you're trying to address some other part of your roster. We were able to do that. I do think that speaks to the quality of the performance we've gotten from the rotation and the development of some of the younger guys that are coming up through the system. So there's Breslow, real quick, just kind of agreeing what I've been saying for a while, that the emergence of Jake Bennett and likely Peyton Tolley made Connelly Early fairly expendable right now. And then he went on to say, anytime you give up a player like Connelly Early, it's really tough. But looking at our roster and looking at our needs, we felt like this was something that makes us better. This one, turning controllable pitching into controllable middle of the order bats, was going to be something that was always going to be worth looking at. The decision not to wait around was also encouraged by the fact that the Red Sox have Mead at their disposal during a key 7-game road trip to Sacramento and Los Angeles as we begin Monday night. I think that's maybe the most slept on part of this trade is, for the most part, like the Red Sox are off on during the trade deadline next Monday, which I think gives them a little bit of an advantage. I said the same thing last year because they were off last year and we got dust in May. But I think that it does give them an advantage because they're like Craig and everybody is going to be able to be completely devoted to finishing up the trade deadline as it comes along. And they're not having to worry about, we're playing at 7:10, da 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 da. But even if they made a trade that day, you're probably waiting a day or two for the new players to get there. Whereas with Mead, we were talking about this before we hit record. Like he was in the hype video that the team posted, leaving Fenway to go get on the bus to go to the airport to fly to Sacramento. Like he was in Boston yesterday. He's playing today. He will play all of these 7 games leading up to the deadline. That really, like, Craig's going to be able to sit in a box, and because I guarantee Craig's with the team right now. Does Sacramento have boxes? It's a AAA stadium. I can't imagine they have more than like 2.
I know. What's it? It's Jenny and Dallas, right? That they call games.
Yeah,
they've complained about it a little, just the whole setup.
Okay, so, that makes sense. Dallas, I love Dallas, but Dallas is a complainer. I would love to get Dallas on here, like just to talk pitching for 45 minutes. I think that'd be one of the coolest episodes of all time. But yeah, so I assume Craig's with the team. I figure anytime the team goes to LA, like a lot of the front office probably also goes to LA. I know if I was in the front office, I would also go to LA.
Yeah, load up on Dodger dogs.
Yeah. So you have to think like Craig's going to be sitting wherever he's sitting at these games, and he's going to be paying attention to how this offense works with Curtis Mead in it. And you've got to take the ballpark factor into consideration. Out here in Sacramento, like it is a minor league park. The ball flies there. So even if Mead hits, 3 or 4 home runs, like you have to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. But Craig's going to be sitting there like, okay, yes, let's absolutely do this. Now, if Mead stumbles, falls on his face, like does that push Craig to go in on a little heavier on another bat to kind of shore that up, or does it make Craig be like, oh crap, here we go again?
Yeah, and you would want Mead to just tear it up immediately for this for vibes. Vibes are important, and just keeping this momentum going.
Yeah,
and you wanted.
I'd be shocked if they don't sweep this series. The A's are awful. The lowest ERA they're facing is either tonight or Wednesday, which Thursday's TBD. Last I looked, and it's like a 4.5.
There was that dude with the funky name who they're seeing tomorrow, Cage Jump. But he's kind of falling off a cliff after a decent start.
I think he's got a 6 something, doesn't he? Or is that the guy tonight?
Either way, they're not seeing that quality pitching.
No. Tonight, yeah, Jack Perkins has a 6.5. Gage Jump has a 4.4. Jacob Lopez is a 6.12. And they're still TBD for Thursday. But Thursday, Sonny Gray, who is going to look to bounce back in a big way after that loss to the Orioles. So, or not the Orioles, the Blue Jays. Sonny's going to be a man on a mission on Thursday. Like if you're sports betting, I would look at whatever his strikeouts are. I would probably take the over. I would hammer Sonny Gray as somebody who's going to come out and just absolutely shove against this A's rotation or against this A's lineup. Let's see. Let's jump right here. Okay, so back into these Breslow quotes. It says, "We felt like this is something that makes us better, independent of the alternatives. We felt like this made sense for us. The other thing is that getting 7 or 8 extra games with Curtis Mead in our lineup is real." And he's talking about his setup. But I think the one quote that really stood out to me, and you sent it in the chat. Breslow said, "I've tried to shift to our goal not being to win the trade. Our goal is to make our major league team better. Sometimes the most straightforward way to do that is a need for need type trade." I've never heard Craig Breslow speak like that before. That's maybe the most human thing he's ever said. Because it was well known that, and Chaim Bloom had the same problem in Boston. The only way you were making a trade, unless it was the Mookie trade with Chaim, is Chaim and Craig had to feel like they were winning the trade. And that's why it came out a ton that a lot of GMs and Pobos around the league didn't want to deal with Craig. And I still think, Coley Mick said it on the most recent episode of Section 10, that I agree with him. I think that Craig likely goes into these negotiations with, here's my best offer, here's my first offer. Take it or don't. And I think that GMs, they're not used to that. They're used to the back and forth negotiation. And Craig is essentially like, nope, I've ran the numbers. Here's what we're paying. If you don't like it, I will move on. And I think that's probably why people don't like him. Because he is so analytical like that. But I think just for him to say, like, hey, like, I'm not trying to win these trades. I'm trying to make the team better right now. I like that. I like that a lot. And I'm a certified Craig Breslow hater. So for me to say that, that's a big deal.
I think at their essence, trades are supposed to benefit both teams. Like a need for need, like to paraphrase Breslow. I think just the whole concept of fleece has kind of emerged from Twitter, social media, and
yeah,
I mean, I've always thought just a trade should benefit. It should benefit both teams. Nobody has to come out on top. And well, today's world is all about just flexing and maxing, trade maxing.
Like I look at like the Garrett Crochet trade, for instance, and people are starting to kind of crap on that because he's been hurt for the majority of this year.
Keel is also hurt, but
yeah, that was a really weird injury. But they've got what's his name? Montgomery was part of that deal.
Braden,
he's now with Wrigley. Yeah, Braden Montgomery. Chase Mydroth is doing well in Chicago, and people are like, "Oh, did the White Sox fleece the Red Sox in the Garrett Crochet trade?" I'm like, it's Garrett Crochet.
Second in Siphon voting.
Yeah, like both teams came out better. And that's, like you said, that's what a trade should be. Whereas I think the opposite of that is the Chris Sale trade from the White Sox to the Red Sox. Like the Red Sox obviously got the better side of that trade.
Mm-hmm.
And even a current version of that, like the Caleb Durbin trade, like it looked so bad for the first couple months of the season. Durbin was playing so poorly. And you had, I just completely lost his name, that went over there, not Quinn Priester.
Harrison?
Yeah. He was at the time in the conversation for the NL Cy Young, who then got hurt. He's working his way back, but he had fallen back to earth quite a bit. And now Durbin is almost like he's got a rocket strapped to his back. Anthony Siegler has been really good since being called up. Chad Tracy said that Andrew Monasterio is their starting shortstop today. Like, once again, both sides of that trade are benefiting in the way that they needed to benefit from that trade. It's a win for both teams. And I think that even as somebody who still wants Craig Breslow fired today, I think that Craig is very astute at making those decisions and targeting the right guys and knowing which pieces to give up to acquire those guys that, like from the outside looking in, fans that are knee-jerk, and it's Boston, fans are knee-jerk reactions all the time. So when Kyle Harrison was dominating through the first 10 starts of the season, where it's like, oh, this is ridiculous. This is why Craig should be fired. Da 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 da. For one, I don't think Harrison would have done that here. It's a different program, and he wasn't succeeding in it. But Craig saw something in Durbin that he really, really liked. Durbin was third in NL Rookie of the Year voting last year, so obviously there's something there. And I think it's going to work out great for both teams. Like, Durbin's probably going to win a Gold Glove at third. If Harrison comes back and shoves, he's going to be back in the NL Cy Young conversation, especially now that Shohei's not pitching for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. And the Red Sox needed infielders. They now have a bunch of infielders, and Durbin, is the third baseman for their foreseeable future. And
he's willing to move to second if need be. I would be comfortable with him playing short, which was also said today, that he may shift to short at the end of games for defensive alignments and stuff. He played short coming up through the minor leagues occasionally. So, I mean, I really think that if they acquire a name that I would like to see them acquire, I think you could see Caleb Durbin shift to short as early as this season on a permanent basis. But we'll get there in a second. Yeah, so I like seeing the human side of Craig Breslow because it feels like we never get that.
Yes, I think it's a good step forward. At the same time, I want to see him put his money where his mouth is.
Yes, I do too. I still think that this trade deadline makes or breaks his future with the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, he's on the hot seat.
Yeah. And I think that it's considerably cooler than it was,
June 16th.
20 games ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
If he stumbles, if this is the only major move that's made, I don't. And that's the conversation that we have a lot when this gets brought up in our Slack channel is, well, do you trust somebody to come into the organization post new CBA in a completely different economical landscape and start making changes and bettering the team? Or do you give Craig one more year so that way somebody else can get their feet underneath them and figure out what's going on? And I think it all depends on who it is. If it's Derek Falvey, yeah, I trust him. If it's Mike Hazen, I trust him. If it's the guys who have been there before, yes.
I was just talking about this with some friends. I have a bold prediction.
They can't be bolder than Alex Cora because that's still my.
Oh no. Well, yeah. He's still floating around the Suffolk County. Anyway,
his house in Boston is still not for sale either.
Well, his daughter goes to school at BC. He seems to really just love the area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Padres got a new ownership group, and AJ Preller might be on the hot seat.
AJ Preller with John Henry's money would be. I mean, I would pay just to have a live stream of those conversations.
Yeah, I mean, Preller is just he's like a bad car wreck where you can't look away, and
yeah,
I think he's a mad genius.
I think that it is so funny that he traded the number one prospect in baseball last year in Leo DeVeers for Mason Miller, and is looking to attach Xander Bogaerts' contract just to trade Mason Miller now. A year to the day later.
Yeah.
I don't dislike AJ Preller. I think that he's probably pretty crazy. And he is like a dog with a bone. And he'll get what he wants eventually, even if it doesn't make sense. And we're seeing that with the mega bullpen that's not super working anymore. They have no rotation to get to the mega bullpen.
And
it was a month ago that he was looking to trade for Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Well, then a bunch of infielders who signed a really expensive contracts.
Yeah. Apparently, Alex Spear was on the broadcast and says he does not have a good feeling about whether the Red Sox are going to land a shortstop.
Well, the thing is, if a salary cap, my thing is, we usually expect a flurry of moves at the trade deadline, but with the potential for a salary cap, I don't agree with that, but I think that means...
You mean those commercials that are running on every major news network aren't convincing you?
Like, I'm trying to watch the news, not like think about the salary cap. But anyway, we might see more teams keeping their talent in case that means they could get them locked up on a team friend, like they're incentivized to lock them up on a team friendly deal.
I think that's very possible. I saw something today that there's at least one executive that expects to play no baseball next year. And so teams are keeping that in mind during these negotiations. I don't think that. I think we're losing a month and a half probably of baseball. I was talking about it with some friends last week. I figure we'll get the standard posturing essentially starting December 1st from both sides. There will be the inevitable, the owners storm out of a meeting, the PA storms out of a meeting, that kind of stuff. And then once February hits, I think that we will, I think that's when we'll start to see some actual progress made. The one thing that does worry me is the owners apparently have close to $2 billion squared away in a war chest fund that's split between them.
$2 billion?
That's the last number I heard.
$2 billion. You could feed so many food pantries with that. But
and that's all rumors. There's not
okay.
There's not. I imagine that it's close.
Yeah.
Because when you think about how much money the MLB makes, even if they're all just putting 10 to 15% of it back, you're probably, and they've probably been doing it since the last CBA was agreed upon because they knew this was coming. I think it's going to be a matter of who blinks first. Obviously, the MLBPA is not going to want a salary cap of any kind, nor should they. I'm all for players getting paid. I don't care about billionaires and their money, unless they are sharing it with me, and they are not. So their money makes no difference to me. But I do think that eventually, if that $1 billion number is real, yeah, the owners could wait this out for a very long time, and the players can't. So I do think that when push comes to shove, the players will be the ones to blink first. Will there be a hard cap? Probably not. But I think that the economic landscape of baseball will look drastically different in 2027 through 2032.
Mm-hmm.
Is that when it will probably expire?
Yeah. So
32, 33. I think we'll get baseball. I think that momentum will start in February. Obviously, games start at the end of March. I think that probably by halfway through April, end of April, is probably when we get some kind of agreement. And then you'll have an abbreviated, probably 4-week spring training through middle of April through the middle of May. And the season starts end of May, beginning of June, is my guess. And you play 112 game season, not 162.
Yeah, my predictions gut says like 30 to 60 games lost.
Yeah, I would love 30. I would love if it was 30. I would love none. None's the goal, but I don't think that's going to happen. And so, if a number has to exist and it's a 2-digit number, I think that probably 30 is where I would be really happy, and 60 I would tolerate.
In the meantime, we'll likely pivot to the true crime baseball adjacent
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
We'll talk about Babe Ruth and how he's a murderer. Just a great story. So the last thing we've got on the rundown here, more moves, and we just kind of talked about what Alex Spear said on during the game. Tyler Milliken has another post. The Red Sox are interested in pitching. Spear mentions both rotation depth and bullpen help. Thinks they were likely looking for rotation help before dealing Connelly Early, and that he's wary about any potential shortstop addition. I do think it's interesting that Ketel Marte has unfollowed the Diamondbacks and deleted them from all of his social media, but the Diamondbacks were in on Connelly Early, but the Red Sox felt that their offer skewed more prospect than MLB ready. So you have to imagine that they're not talking Ketel Marte at the moment.
Yeah, Tim Tawa is a prospect who's been around since I was a teenager. I want to say just I've heard his name for so long, and Mead is better than him. So the
Waldschmidt guy, Ryan Waldschmidt, that's the one that I would have paused to consider. I think that I still would have gone Mead over Waldschmidt, but I mean, it just shows you that Craig kind of read his market pretty good this time around. So far, we're not there yet, but so far. Now Tyler Soderstrom is the one who hit the home run off Peyton Tolley just a little bit ago. I would love to see Sody in a Red Sox uniform, but I just don't see that happening. I think that was less likely than Langolier was before he was injured. So, yeah, I would love to see a dugout swap tonight. Middle of the game, Soderstrom has to come across to the visitor side and bat 8th for the Boston Red Sox. But I don't think that's going to happen. Are outside, because you talked about bullpen help. Or is there any other area that you think the Red Sox need to address at this deadline?
I'd say a right-handed starter.
Yeah.
Is Casey Meese a right-hander? I know Nick had mentioned him in the Slack channel.
Let me look. Yeah, he's a righty.
I've had him on my fantasy team a couple years. He's done well, so I think he's a decent arm.
His record, he's got a 4-6 record, but he has a 2.7 ERA. Only 3 strikeouts against the Royals, 3 hits, 1 earned run. That was on Saturday. So, yeah, he only has 85 strikeouts in the year.
As a number 5 guy, I would feel a little more comfortable with him than Bayo.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah. He's what Bayo, we all hoped Bayo would be. He pitches to contact. If with a good defense behind him, he's going to be a really good pitcher. Obviously, Bayo's got a 4, a 5 something ERA. Casey Mize has a 2.7. It's an interesting conversation. I think that if Craig wanted to really show out, he should talk about Scooble. Because if you're wanting to bank on pitching, I don't know if there's any better way to do it than add Derek Scooble to this rotation. I'm not convinced the Tigers are going to trade him. I think that Mize is definitely tradable. I think they're probably going to try to move Jack Flaherty too.
That would have been nice when Giolito was on the team. Now,
yeah, I had interest in Flaherty for the last 2 seasons, not anymore.
Yeah, he's kind of washed, if you will.
He was really fun to watch for the Cardinals. Flashed a ton of potential, but just never really got it to click for extended stretches of
time. If Scooble's going anywhere, I'd take the Braves, not the Braves, the Rays.
Yeah, I think the Braves are interesting, though. I do think that they're in on that conversation.
Yeah, they have some arms. I think not arm. Well, they have some prospects. I think that could get the Tigers to pick up the phone.
Yeah, I think the Rays are a really big sleeper candidate for Scooble. Apparently, the Brewers have been calling around on him. The Brewers have also been calling around on Mason Miller. So if you are a fan of any NL Central team that's not the Brewers, sorry.
He could make sense for the Cubs, but they don't like guys with high velocity. They tend to prefer high spin guys.
Yeah. Which is why Sonny Gray was such a really good match when it looked like the teams were heading in opposite directions with the Cubs, who just DFA'd Jameson Taillon today.
Yeah, Taillon.
He's cooked.
Yeah. We had talked about this earlier, where I think we could potentially be seeing an old friend back in the division.
Which one?
With a certain Bay Area team that's not the Sacramento.
Yeah. We are both very worried that Rafael Devers is going to end up on the Yankees.
And he fits the Yankees archetype of questionable defense, slower on the
terrible attitudes.
Terrible, but hey, he hits a lot of home runs.
And he would hit even more at Yankee Stadium.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I honestly don't like. One, I think Buster Posey is in over his head in San Francisco at this point that he doesn't know which way is up. And I think that he would want whoever acquires Devers, we'll say the Yankees, to eat a significant portion of that contract. But I don't think that if the Yankees are willing to eat a significant portion of that contract, anybody that they would offer would be of any kind of value to the Giants. You're not getting Jason Dominguez or Spencer Jones if you're paying 80% of Devers' contract, you know?
Mm-hmm. And the Giants play in the toughest division in baseball. When you're with the Dodgers.
For the next 30 years.
Yeah. Well, is the West the toughest?
I think all things considered, probably. Last year, the AL East was the toughest division in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
This year,
the Central?
The Dodgers have pretty much ran away with it.
The NL Central,
the Brewers are pretty well in control of that one. I mean, the Cubs will be there, but they'll get in with a wild card. The Cardinals have flamed out. The Reds don't look good. The Pirates don't look good. The Pirates with a couple more pieces could be an interesting team. The NL East on paper should be really, really good. But it's the Phillies that are just going to kind of run away with it at this point.
They have lost all of their series since the All-Star break.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they were playing the Yankees this weekend, and I thought, well, this would be a great opportunity for them to sweep New York and help the Red Sox gain some traction. They didn't.
Thanks, Bryce Harper. I mean, the Marlins have been awful. They dropped 12 in a row coming out of the break.
Mm-hmm.
There are some interesting names on that Marlins team that I would be very interested in.
Do you want to talk about I assume you're thinking of Otto Lopez?
I say the big fish is Otto Lopez. I don't see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
Although it was earlier today, there were multiple reports that the Red Sox were at least calling on him. If you're trading for Otto Lopez, obviously Franklin Arias is part of that deal. Because Lopez is only 27. Lopez isn't going to give you a ton of pop, but I was curious, so I dug around on his Savant page for about 30 minutes earlier today. And playing at Fenway would do well for him. He's a phenomenal defender, a phenomenal base runner. Not the flashiest hitter in the world. Let me hop on Fangraphs, though, because he's slashing 328, 363, 490 with a 367 WOBA, a 131 weighted runs created plus, and a 4.3 F4. Do I think the Marlins are going to trade him? No. I think he might be the guy I would target if I was Craig Breslow, that I would be willing to get very uncomfortable for. Now that Langoliers is not an option. And then I would try to go get Langoliers over the offseason.
I like Anthony Bender with the Marlins as a bullpen arm.
Yes, I like Bender a lot.
He's a righty. That helps.
Yeah. I still think that it's a very interesting conversation with Sandy Alcantara. He's signed through next year, so he's going to cost a little more. One name that has always kind of stuck out to me, and I haven't looked at his Savant page at all this year, so let me pull it up. Was Yuri Perez. I like Yuri. Tall righty, but not great extension.
Yeah, Bender's is also kind of bad too.
What does Sandy's look like? Because it's been a weird season for him. Sandy's isn't terrible. He fits the Ranger Suarez mold just from the right side. Slider, sinker, changeup, four-seamer, cutter, sweeper, slider, curveball. His expected ERA is lower than his actual ERA. His expected batting average is 252. Yeah. If his fastball velo, 97.5. Not a ton of whiffs, not a ton of strikeouts. He's got 110 on the season so far. His walk rate is in the 80th percentile. Ground ball rate 64th. His extension's only the 14th at 6 feet. Last year, he was in the bottom 1% of Major League Baseball in max exit velocity against. This year, he's lowered it by almost 5 miles per hour, which is great. But his launch angle has gone up quite a bit. There are some intriguing names on the Marlins outside of Otto Lopez. I really like Xavier Edwards a lot. That's not going to happen.
But he's a fun player.
Yeah. He's not going to hit home runs, but good God, he is fast. And he's an elite strikeout guy, an elite walk guy. He doesn't chase. He doesn't whiff. There's a lot to like with him. But if Otto Lopez is unattainable, Xavier Edwards is even more unattainable.
Well, the Red Sox seem to be going in one direction since Chad Tracy took over as interim manager, where they're playing a lot more small ball, laying down bunts, just not swinging out of their shoes for the fences. And the names they've been connected, and while also playing really good defense. And some of the names like Zach Neto that they've been connected to are the opposite of that. Which would you rather have the team, or which would you prefer the team pursue?
I think that they can still play small ball and well-rounded baseball, even with adding another like high-profile bat. My ideal target that's left, Bangaliers was my guy. That's who I wanted. I was kind of salivating at the thought of that. I would get very uncomfortable for CJ Abrams. His defense at short is awful. He's a negative 12 outs above average. Just garbage, absolute garbage. But I think that you could move him to second base next season. And whether that be Mikey Romero, Marcelo Mayer, somebody could play short, because to land somebody like CJ Abrams, you're giving up Franklin Arias. I would trade Franklin Arias for CJ Abrams. I would not trade Franklin Arias for Zach Neto.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
I'm pretty well completely out on Zach Neto. There was a point in time this offseason where it was intriguing to me, but just watching him this season, I think that we're getting Trevor Story just 5 years younger if we trade for Zach Neto, and I don't have any interest in that.
Yeah, and I would. Yeah, he kind of looks like Trevor Story, reincarnated. And yeah, we don't want that.
Like I said, CJ Abrams is my target. I would love it if they could figure out a way to trade for Adley Rutschman. I know you would too. I don't think the Orioles even pick up the phone for Craig Breslow, just because it's in division. Adley's going to be a free agent after 28, I think. So if you think that he's viable, you could go get him then. Because since the Orioles have locked up Basayo, I don't think they're even going to talk extension with Adley.
I think Henderson is a bigger priority there, even though he hasn't been open to an extension so far. Well,
I think it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Angels certainly are the wild card at this deadline.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I don't think they would be in on Reed Detmers, but he's another name to watch. Jose Soriano too.
I mean, I would rather see Detmers or Soriano than Zach Neto.
Yeah, I think either would take a significant haul. And if you're
Yes.
giving up that much, I mean, you got to look at who you have, and I think the needs are. Well, no, you need a batter over another pitcher
Yes.
if you're giving up that much.
Yeah, I think that should be priority number one, is landing another bat. Be that, which, I mean, Colorado has apparently told teams the list of players they're listening on, and Hunter Goodman is not one of them. I talked earlier about Francisco Alvarez from the Mets. There's some scuttlebutt about Ivan Herrera from the Cardinals, who is more of a DH at this point. He's a terrible defensive catcher. I think that there have been 20 steal attempts against Herrera this season. He has thrown 0 of them out. Just not a good catcher, but that batter profiles real well at Fenway Park. He does damage in Busch Stadium, which is about as pitcher friendly as you can be. So the Cardinals have a lot of catching depth. The guy who started as their backup this year, Pozo, is actually with their AAA affiliate right now. He's not a sexy name by any means, but he's a good catcher. So, yeah, I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens through the week. Like I said, we're recording this on Monday night. We will be back next week, a week from tonight. There'll be no questions on the forum because it's going to be a live stream. So if you're hearing this, there's that, but I'll also post it since we're going to do a live stream. And then we'll be back regularly scheduled the week after that. So enjoy the episode. Enjoy the trade deadline. We have a ton of pieces coming out on the website about possible targets. If there is anything that happens between now and the recording of the live stream Monday night, which hopefully there is, we will have it here on Talk Sox. So we'll catch you then, and we will see you guys for the live stream next Monday.